Sadnam. We are Jen and Ramtin from Heart Center Revolution.
Our intention with this podcast is to share the best of Kundalini yoga and conscious living with you so you can live a more heart-centered life. Satnam, and welcome back to episode 28 of the Heart Centered Revolution podcast. In this episode, we cover about how everything is interconnected and how Kundalini yoga works to increase our awareness and how that leads to an increased consciousness. And that increased consciousness helps improve your ability to be a conscious creator, so to more actively direct the direction of your life. The episode ends with a brief 3-minute pranayama practice. This one is a pranayama practice to bring in some cooling, calming energy. It's great for if your nerves feel frazzled or if you're trying to go to sleep and you're having trouble getting some rest. We did have a little issue with the audio for the meditation, so if it sounds a little off, it'll be back to normal in our next episode. And at the very end of this episode, we are really excited to share with you that Ramtin is bringing his one-on-one services. So he has a private practice here in Newport Beach, and he's decided to offer a few spots at any given time to our Heart Centered Revolution listeners. So we'll share more information about that at the end of the episode. Before we jump into Ramtin's class today, I wanted to just talk a little bit about what he means by the word conditioned mind. So this phrase comes up during this topic, and what he means by conditioned mind is this idea that our minds are kind of like software that can be programmed. And so specifically during our beginning years from 0 to 7, our brains are like little sponges and we absorb all of this information, and what we're exposed to gets kind of programmed in. So it programs in our expectations, our thoughts, and our beliefs. And then once we're 7, we become a little less porous, for lack of a better word. And it's harder for information to get in. So it can get through, and we can, of course, change our minds and change our beliefs and reprogram ourselves, at that most fundamental cellular level. But it's not quite as easy. We don't just soak up information from the world around us. We have to do things like get into specific states, like through meditation or through hypnosis, or journal a lot, or even ask for angels or guidance to help us shift a mental state that we have. But that's what he means when he refers to conditioned mind. It's kind of that part of our mind that is operating under assumptions that it's been programmed to operate under, not like our free mind or our neutral mind, where we're accessing our intuition, that the information that we channel from spirits and that broader perspective. The conditioned mind refers more to that narrow, conditioned point of view. So let's jump into Ramtin's class for the day.
So Kundalini yoga, we practice it to bring awareness, right? And that awareness brings us more consciousness in a way. A different level of consciousness. That we become aware of, starting with our own physical body, what's going on inside. And as we become aware of more subtle aspects of our physical body, start a different relationship that we had with it before. Then we start creating that awareness and start applying it to our outside world. And there's a kind of an understanding and a correlation that we could create between how that awareness affects our energy, our state of the mind, and how we could again apply that to seemingly what's around us in our environment and outside of us. And in that way we raise our consciousness above the conditional mind above the limitations that we kind of learned or got to know, and as we become witness to that, we develop that consciousness, that limited consciousness. That's why biology, physiology, the science in general, all that is very fascinating. And as we become aware of how physically, chemically, neurologically, and through electrical neurons and transmitters and hormones, as hormones are secreted and creates a certain communication through the blood flow and the flow of hormones and energy, we become fascinated how these organs communicate with each other. But we forget that there's a certain intelligence that operates all of this. And we tend to, right now, still to this day and age, majority of science focuses on the operational functionality of the brain only, which is a physical thing. It's physical matter. It's an organ. And then the questions how some of the things happen, why this thing happens, why that thing happens, the efficiency and the accuracy of the functionality of the brain, where does it come from? And then where our thoughts, how our thoughts produced, where they come from. Emotions. What controls what? So if we kind of tap into the subtle aspects of who we are, and also relate that to our awareness of the unknown, so to speak, that there's intelligence that exists, there has to be some kind of intelligence that connects everything, very, quantum level at the microscopic world and the macroscopic world. Then as we become aware of that intelligence that exists within us, and we tap into that intelligence, we become conscious of it. And that consciousness, that level of consciousness, is now available to us to apply to other areas of our life. Starting with our own body, understanding our own body is very critical, very important. That's what Kundalini yoga practice does for us, brings to us. As you, just as simple as, sitting in easy pose or doing any stretches, any poses, after a few seconds is not as easy as it was the first few seconds. That awareness is just what kind of emotions come to surface, and how do you go about redirecting those emotions, the thoughts. It starts with the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings, distinguishing feelings and emotions. So when we have certain feelings, right, actual feelings of coldness, of heat, and other type of feelings that we have, sensations that occur in our body, tingling, all that stuff, those are feelings. And they occur, obviously they have to occur by movement of our blood flow, hormones, the blood cells, our cells in our body. That's the physical part. And as each organ operates a little differently, it does create those hormones and chemicals to move, to that's energy. And as we become aware of the feelings, the brain now picks up the signals, and depending on what thoughts are within the mind field. The mind is different than the head, the brain. Then we start creating some certain emotions. And those emotions also could create certain feelings. It works hand in hand. It works together. It all begins with certain thoughts. Thoughts come from our subconscious mind, and thoughts come through us as well, through the subconscious mind. There are some that are stored more closely in the field of the subconscious mind. There are some that actually are deeper from the field of cosmic, universe mind, universal mind. But it all comes through us, through the subconscious mind. And depending on the associations we've had with those thoughts, certain emotions appear. Creating that consciousness, and that's what we are doing. By applying these exercises, the movements, we are creating these associations and a certain consciousness and storing it within our subconscious mind. And as we do that, we're now able to more consciously enjoy life, be more conscious through the support of our subconscious mind, and not having that conflict of what you think your motivation, your intention, and your motivation want to be at a certain place, and then something's going on within the body, which is controlled by the subconscious mind. Something's going on with the subconscious mind itself. Through its connection to that higher field of energy, But when we're in tune with all of this, then it works together. And we're able to make more conscious, make decisions consciously, be more conscious about things, and be a creator. Because the only way for you, because you are a creator in your own life, is to be conscious creators, and not be a slave to your habitual ways of doing things, feelings. Knowing that of course, you're part of this universe, and knowing that things in the cosmos, energy of the people around you, your own thoughts and your perception, all that does affect your body, your existence, because we're connected. It's a good thing. And that awareness helps you to overcome that, to be the individual you wanted to be. When you came on this earth, you decided to be part of this existence, you agreed to be an individual. But it comes with certain, certain, what do you call it, consequences. Yeah. Certain, you could call it consequences. It is. But you want to make it a little more softer. Cause and effect, It comes with that. So you got to work with that. It's part of the joy of being alive, being a human being.
Okay, great. I love that discussion from Ramtin. And as I was listening, something I wanted to elaborate a little bit on was this idea, like that initial awareness that you get from Kundalini yoga or any spiritual practice, really. A lot of times there's discomfort that comes with it. So like he was talking about, when you're sitting to meditate, after a while you become aware of the discomfort of your body, or you might become aware of the effect of different types of foods on your system. And then there's the discomfort of, for a while there's a discomfort of, let's say it's sugar, for example. You continue to eat sugar, but you're aware of the impact it's having on your body. So it creates this cognitive dissonance. And then there's the discomfort of shifting your behavior and maybe eliminating or reducing sugar from your diet. And so this awareness initially often comes with some discomfort, which is why this path is so challenging. And A lot of people and a lot of times we get stuck or we pause in our spiritual growth because there is a lot of discomfort involved. But that awareness paired with discomfort, if you can stay the course and follow your intuition and your guidance and, remove that sugar or, commit to doing your practice every day, then on the other side of that experience, on the other side of that discomfort is a sense of freedom, and it's a sense of spaciousness. So you're no longer dependent on sugar, or you are, you're doing your practice regularly. And so this limitation that you thought you had of like, I'm not able to do that and I can't do that, you're free of that limiting belief. And so it's like awareness brings with it discomfort. And then when you stay the course and you kind of pierce through that discomfort, then you can experience freedom. So it kind of goes like this. So practicing Kundalini yoga and meditation leads to sensitivity and an awareness of like this subtle connection of everything in your life. And then that awareness, although it might bring with it some discomfort, can often lead to a shift in consciousness or perspective, especially if you change your behavior in alignment with that new consciousness or perspective. And then you're often free of one of those conditioned ways of being that you were carrying with yourself. And you feel just a little more free as a human being and as a conscious creator of your own life. And this process is one of the ways that the subconscious mind, like Ramtin was alluding to, the subconscious mind can kind of get in the way of what you want, or it can slow you down. And so how that works is, like, let's take, for example, you're doing Kundalini, you become aware of a change that you'd like to make, and then you set, your whole intention is to make a change, whether it's dietary or behavioral, cutting out sugar and practicing regularly are pretty common ones. So you have every intention of making these changes, but you can't quite seem to get there. So maybe you're trying to cut out sugar, but then you're at work and there's a cake in front of you and you're able to avoid it at first, but then it's almost like something takes over your body and you're like cutting the piece of cake and you eat it and it tastes really good. But after you have the cake, you're kind of mystified as to like, how did that happen? Like yesterday I said I wasn't going to have as much sugar, and then I just almost on autopilot ate this cake. So that autopilot, or that kind of mindless going against the conscious thing that you're trying to do, is often a result of your subconscious beliefs. So your subconscious is programmed to kind of keep you in the same space. And especially if your subconscious belief or thought is contradictory to what you are consciously wanting to do, then you have this resistance. So if you consciously want to eliminate sugar, but subconsciously you use sugar as a way to manage stress or to connect with people socially, then you're going to have a harder time because that subconscious belief is kind of working against you. And worse yet, it's not like a thought process you go through. It's just kind of working in the background, creating resistance against what you want, which makes it a little harder to address and is one of the reasons why it's so hard for us as human beings to make changes. So willpower isn't sufficient because we have this subconscious beliefs kind of operating under the radar. And the great news is the more you practice Kundalini, the more specifically you do the meditations, the more you clear your subconscious mind, and you clear your subconscious mind of stories that you didn't even know were there. And as you're clearing them, you honestly don't think about them. It's not like you're like, oh, there goes this thing that happened when I was 11, or there goes an emotion attached to my first breakup. One of the coolest things about Kundalini yoga is you release these subconscious stories and attachments and beliefs without having to process them consciously. This is oftentimes why you'll start crying during your practice or have a big emotional response without really knowing why, like it feels out of the blue. One possible reason that happens is because you're releasing a subconscious memory or experience that's been stored in your body and your subconscious mind. And so the emotions are coming through to be released without you having to talk to a therapist about it. And then once those subconscious stories and beliefs are released, then you can live a more conscious life. You can more consciously choose how you relate to people, how you respond to situations, what time you wake up in the morning, whether you do your morning practice or not. It kind of gets easier and easier. But Kundalini Yoga releases stories and subconscious beliefs kind of in a general fashion, and it's like slow and steady. But if you want to specifically target an area of your life or have a goal that you're working towards, that's what Ramtin can help you with. So again, at the end of this episode, I'll explain a little bit more about how that works. But with hypnotherapy and spiritual counseling, that's kind of how you can release stories that are more targeted. So like if you're trying to make more money or lose weight, or you want to manage your anxiety better, but you're having a difficult time getting there, then getting some support specifically targeted at that area can be really powerful, because once you release the subconscious resistance, then change can flow in pretty gradually and feel less stressful. Before I share more about that, we'll get into our meditation for today. So the practice that we're going to do today works with our nadis. And so nadis, it's Nadis, are energy channels throughout our body. We have about 72,000 of them, but there are three main ones. And so one is the Sushumna, and it goes from our brow point all the way down to our first chakra. And then the Ida and the Pingala kind of spiral up the Sushumna, also starting at the base of our body or our torso at the first chakra, and then they end at the brow point together. So they all three start and end together. And then the two, the Ida and the Pingala, that spiral around, they're related with one each nostril. And so the Ida is connected to our left nostril, Pingala to our right nostril. So the left nostril is associated with the Ida, and that's the one we're going to work with today. So this is our cooling, our moon energy. So this channel is associated with things like cooling your imagination, relaxation, being flexible, being receptive. And so it's that cooling and calming energy that a lot of us are looking for. So if you've had a busy, stressful day, if you feel anxious or kind of worked up, or if you're trying to go to sleep and your mind is just racing and you can't go to sleep, then activating your Ida nadi or energy channel will help you bring in some of that cooling energy. So that's what we're going to practice today. So bring yourself into a comfortable seated posture. You want to elongate that spine, lift the crown of the head up to the heavens, open the heart, relax the shoulders, bring your hands down onto your thighs. You can hold them into Gyan Mudra, which is thumb to pointer finger, or just resting palms up is fine. Wherever you're at, just get that tall spine, open heart, relaxed shoulders. You can also very gently pull your chin back so you feel a slight opening in the back of your neck. And then in this posture, which hopefully feels relaxed and not too stiff. In fact, just take a moment, and if you're holding something, especially as a result of those prompts to get good posture, just relax. Sit up tall but relaxed, and close your eyes. Focus your eye at the third eye or at your brow point. And we're going to start with some long, deep breathing. So inhaling, fill up your belly. Once the belly is full, fill up the ribs. And then the upper chest. Exhale, upper chest comes down, ribs come together, belly comes back. Inhaling, filling up from the bottom of the torso, all the way up to the top. Exhaling from the top of the torso all the way to the bottom. Beautiful. Inhaling. And exhaling. Connect connecting with your breath. Beautiful. Now we're going to bring our right hand up to our face, and with the right thumb, just very gently close your right nostril. And keeping the eyes closed and focused at the third eye, continue with this long, deep breathing just through the left nostril. Inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling chest, ribs, and belly. Continuing this breathing pattern. If your mind is racing or talking to you, you can always mentally chant Sat on the inhale and Nam on the exhale. Sat means truth and Nam means name. So when we say Sat Nam to ourselves, we are connecting our identity to our truth, or to the true parts of ourselves. The parts of ourselves that is beyond the roles that we play, like man or woman, wife, child, daughter, whatever your profession is. Sat Nam connects you to your soul's vibration. Inhaling and exhaling through that left nostril. Eyes are focused at the third eye. You might notice if your left nostril is a little congested or hard to breathe through, then you can always take a break and just do long, deep breathing through both nostrils and try again another time. Let's do two more together. Inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling chest, ribs, and belly. Inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling chest, ribs, and belly. Bring your right hand down. Inhale deeply through both nostrils. Suspend the breath for a moment, squeezing your torso, feeling energy being pulled up the central channel of your body, out the crown of your head. Eyes are focused at the third eye. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and blink open your eyes, getting reacquainted with where you're at, your current surroundings, expressing gratitude to yourself for doing this practice today. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember to just breathe through that left nostril when you need some cooling, calming energy. It can help you go to sleep at night.
What a great meditation.
Before we wrap up this podcast episode, I'd love to share a little bit more with you about how you can work one-on-one with Ramtin. So as we've talked about throughout this episode, if your subconscious mind is out of alignment with what you consciously want, it creates resistance and frustration. And so if you're in a position where you've been consciously trying to make a change, whether it's, something like weight loss or smoking or dealing with anxiety or depression, or even if you just feel like, on paper, everything's going well. Like, why don't I feel fulfilled? Why don't I feel as happy as I should? Like, you feel like there should be something more. Then these are all things that working with Ramtin can help you with. So spiritual counseling is kind of a term that we just came up to cover what he does, because Ramtin is so knowledgeable. So he's a Kundalini yoga, certified teacher, as you know. He's a clinical hypnotherapist. He's done a lot of research and study around the law of attraction, certified Reiki healer, like all that stuff. So he's been this lifelong study of spiritual teachings. But his passion is the subconscious mind. Like, he loves talking about it. Every time we have a dinner party, somehow he can shift the conversation to the subconscious mind and how powerful it is. Like, how powerful it is if it's working against you or if it's working for you. Like, our subconscious mind is how we manifest what we see in our life. And so if you're wanting to change what you see in your life, one of the most powerful ways you can do that is by identifying what beliefs are in your subconscious mind that are contradictory, and then working on releasing or reprogramming them. And this is what Ramtin is an absolute expert at. So when you work with him, he'll help you identify or get clear on what change you're looking for and what subconscious beliefs are getting in your way. And then he'll work with you on a plan and give you tools that you can use to help reprogram that subconscious mind. So it might be things like meditation and yoga. It might be a journaling activity. It might be, a conversation you need to have with someone in your life. And then as a certified hypnotherapist, he can also use hypnotherapy, which is basically just, putting you in a state of deep relaxation where those defenses to your subconscious mind are lowered. And then he can help guide you through some imagery that will help you reprogram the subconscious mind. It is pretty awesome and powerful stuff, and can be shocking how powerful it is. Since I'm his wife, I can't do like the whole counseling thing with him because it would be a little weird, but he's done hypnosis on me and I was a skeptic, and it's just amazing how powerful it is. We'll do a session of hypnosis, and some of the suggestions he gives, I'll be thinking the next day, and the issues that we were working on all of a sudden aren't as like entrenched in my experience. It's a really powerful process, but you can do the spiritual counseling without hypnotherapy if you don't want to include that. But I don't know why you wouldn't want to include it. So the podcast is evergreen, so I'm not sure what will be available, as time goes on. But right now it's, October of 2018, and Ramtin's offering a special for the Heart-Centered Revolution community. So you can get your first 3 sessions for the cost of 2. So if you're curious, if you want to learn more about the process and get some examples and see some testimonials, you can visit heartcenteredrevolution.com/counseling. So it's heartcenteredrevolution.com/counseling. And so you can learn more there and sign up if you're interested, or be on the wait list if you want to, if he doesn't have spots available, then you can sign up to be on the wait list, because there are a limited number of spots that he can do for these like online or telephone sessions. All right, that is it for episode 28. Thank you so much for being here. We love you so much and honor you wherever you're at on your spiritual journey. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, connect with us, we're on Instagram at Heart-Centered Revolution, or you can always email us at Jen or Ramtin at heartcenteredrevolution.com. All right, we love you. Sat Nam.